It is important that we grow and we become mature to be able to deserve the knowledge. What does it mean to be mature? Maturity comes in the form of how you handle your desires, what choices of actions you take. How do you take the result of the action? This defines how mature you are as a human being. We have seen that whole life is lived with performing actions, making the choices, and taking the result, and still we know so little about what we have control over and what we don't have control over. So the previous verse talked about karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, getting that basic relationship between what is something within purview of my influence and what is not within my purview of influence. Action I have a choice over, but the result I don't have a choice over. So when I choose the action, what is the criteria that I use? I use two basic, very important criteria. The first is the ethics. What is it which is the right thing to do and what is not the right thing to do? Depending upon that, I will decide what I may have a desire, but whether I should go along with that desire or not would depend upon taking into consideration what is it which is the right thing to do. The second very important criteria is appropriateness. Appropriateness comes in form of, sometimes it is not just the matter of ethics. You have to make choices with reference to your life. Your son wants to go and do art and you think that he should be engineer. So how much do you push? What do you do? Do you let him do what he wants to do, or do you convince him with reference to the choices that you made for him? Many of the Indian community have this big issue also of their children, especially the Indians who are growing up abroad, their children wanting to marry foreigners. Do you let them do that? You insist on them marrying somebody of your own culture? These are all the things. There is no one right or wrong answer. It's a matter of what is appropriate, who's the person in front, what are the issues. And this is where we talk about there is appropriateness. You have to decide what is the right response at a given point in time, taking into consideration many different factors and making those decisions. But sometimes, in spite of using these two criteria, making certain choices, you still feel that things don't happen according to how you expected them to happen. So what is your response? And that is something, what is an appropriate response to the situations that come to you? And that is what is highlighted in this verse. This is with reference to taking the result of action. The actions and the choices were discussed before, but the result, your response to the result of the action is very much part of your maturity, and that is explained in this verse. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. He says that karma, you can make choices, but the result come. What kind of result? The result can be four types. One is more than what you expect. The other one is equal to what you expect. The third could be less than what you expect. And the fourth could be opposite of what you expect. Okay. Let's say, just a very practical example. You are working in an office, you are working very hard, and you expect to be recognized. Your boss sees a great potential in you and gives you double promotion. And that is something, the result is you just want it to be recognized, but you end up having double promotion. So it's much more than what you expect. According to your expectation could be you do hard work, your boss recognizes you and gives you a good recommendation, or promotes you, or says good things about you to senior management. This is equal to what you expect. Less than what you expect, there is a position vacant, you apply and your colleague apply, and you think that you deserve it, but your colleague gets it. That is less than what you expect. The fourth is, let's say you're working very hard, you're very dynamic, your boss gets threatened by your brightness and totally sidelines you. Not only that you don't get your promotion, you just stay where you are, but you're sent in a department which is totally useless, or where there is not much scope for further progress. So that is opposite of what you expect. So this is one example, but the whole life can be like that. Whole life is somehow lived with this kind of different proportion, different intensity of result of actions, that sometimes they are according to what you want, sometimes they are quite against what you wish or hope for. How are you going to respond to them? What is going to be your response? Our general response is, when things happen my way, I'm very proud. I'm sometimes to the level that I become conceited. I think that I'm the great person and there is nobody like me. And when things don't happen my way, I'm feeling so low, I'm feeling so down, and I start labeling myself as somebody who's useless, who's good for nothing, or I'm angry. I'm angry with people. I'm angry with situations. So these, or I'm fearful. So these are all the different responses I have, because things always don't happen the way I want them to happen. Here, what is said is siddhi asiddhi samo bhutva. Whether things happen your way or don't happen your way, samatvam is yoga uchyate. The equanimity is called yoga. But how are you just going to become equal? Okay, you can't say that I will live my life equally, whether I get something which is very, very big or something totally not at all according to my wishes, but I'll be equal. We are not like machines. We cannot be programmed in a way that our responses can be totally equal. That's not what is being said. What is being said is to understand. If I understand one thing, that will help me a lot to deal with situations, whether they are according to my liking or not according to my liking. What is that one fact that will help me to deal with it? And that is that the results are taken care of or given to me by Ishvara in form of the order. Things don't happen according to, there is nobody who's sitting there who is then deciding that you should be successful or you should not be successful. Things are happening according to the order. Things are not happening randomly. So whatever happens in your life, there are causes. There are some causes which are known to you. Your actions and your efforts are known to you. But there are so many causes in the past. There are so many interlinkages which go into giving you the result which you are not aware of. But just because you are not aware of doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. The more you understand that there are many forces which are working in harmony, which are in order, which gives you the result that you are going through, or the situations that you are going through in life, then in understanding of a much bigger picture, much bigger design of things, you learn to take your life and take your expectations in perspective. It is really all about putting your life in perspective by knowing a much bigger scheme, being alive to a much bigger scheme that is there in life, which is connecting you to different situations, to different people, different circumstances, and it's connecting each one to an interdependent world. The more and more you recognize this larger design, the more and more you're able to deal with situations, whether you like it or not, whether things happen according to you or not, but with grace, and in fact gracefully. Okay, whole life becomes a life of understanding that things, there is a much bigger design than what I believe, and according to that design things are unfailing, and within that design I try to get the results the way I want. I work for it, but when things don't happen my way, I take it gracefully. योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्यौ समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते.